You're listening to Support Creative Souls podcast, highlighting and supporting inspiring creatives, plus a few shoe stories to help kick up your innovative journey. Hosted by me, Stefani V.
Welcome to Support Creative Souls. We're here, We Co-work Space, downtown Houston. Of course, I have another amazing guest. We are here today with Brandon Kafarela. Yes, I just like to say his last name, Kafarela. He is a wardrobe stylist and a costume designer. What? I don't know too many wardrobe stylists. And first of all, costume designer, that's really dope. That's super, super dope. Different. You're our first costume designer here for the show, so welcome. You're blessed. So Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it entails to be a costume designer and a wardrobe stylist.
Yeah, so I'm from Houston and I work mainly here in New Orleans. New Orleans is actually where most of my work does come out of.
NOLA.
I love and yeah, so the two really overlap, but the way I like to look at it is costume design is mainly for like films. Like when I get called to do costume design, like the one I'm doing next month, it's a lot more about a narrative rather than like fashion or aesthetic. And so whether it could be something like really wacky when we hear the word costume, that's something our mind really goes to, or it could be something really simple and base, like a dirty t-shirt and like denim jeans that really establish that
I guess it all depends the show that you're working on, right?
Yeah, and
so you could go anywhere from like musical theater, which is more costume or ballet to a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. And so wardrobe styling, I've worked with artists like Big Frida, the Soul Rebels, Denicia, Kiana Lede, Mavis Staples, and it follows a narrative too, but you get to have a lot more fun, like, so there's like color stories and, you get to just kind of make them look a little more dope, and just play around.
You get to throw more of your creative ideas into it, rather than it just being, we need a dirty shirt, or we need him to look like a farmer.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're both really fun, and I feel blessed to be able to do both of those.
So tell us how you got into this, because it's not, and that's what kind of we're about, is to teach the youth is different career paths that you can take that are not traditional. So I'm sure it would be interested to know what was your steps into getting into this career path?
Yeah.
Is it a lot?
I always have to think about that myself too, how did I end up doing this?
Yeah.
But always in the high school stuff, I never really thought about what I would wear. I would just put on what I like, and then people would be like, oh, you should move to Austin, you're weird. I'm really? I'm just really comfortable in this, and that's when I started realizing clothes were a really important part of how I express myself every day, and it's not really a status thing. It's something that I think we all use as an outlet to just say how we feel and what we're into. Yeah. And anyways, I get into college and my mom buys me a camera, and Instagram was getting real popular, so everyone was a photographer, including me.
Yeah, me too. Except I'm really bad.
Yeah, same.
Thank God for filters.
I really enjoy taking pictures and that process, but it also kind of opened my world, up to different, things people do to make these pictures what they are. When we see a Vogue cover or something like that, I started learning everyone involved who made these amazing images possible, and so I came across the title wardrobe stylist, and I was like, whoa, that sounds tight. And then so I finally just kind of put down the camera and was all right, I really want to explore this lane. And being in Houston and the South in general, it's not really something people go for.
Exactly.
And so we don't have all these showrooms that LA or New York has, where you walk in and you're hey, can I borrow your clothes for free? If you do that here, they're what? And so I basically started thrifting, and I had this huge vintage collection at some point. The Hurricane Harvey took, rest in peace. But it's okay.
No, that hurts my heart.
It hurts to talk about it, but it's fun to shop again. But I would basically pull from my own collection, and I would just shoot with friends, and I was still taking pictures myself at the beginning, just because I didn't really know any photographers who were kind of down for what I was going for. And then I moved to New Orleans after doing an internship here, and that's when I started meeting a lot more people who kind of knew what I was trying to get into and actually had experience in that world, and kind of saw that I knew what I was doing, or had an eye for it. And then they brought me on a movie sets, and
and there's like there's so much more filming going on in NOLA, so it's like it's basically where the hub is now. I mean, we used to work on a movie they did out there. I was like an extra there, but there was so much going on over there now.
Yeah, I hope they bring some over here, but it's all in
I think
New
it's all about taxes.
Yeah.
Because they're slowly moving out of LA because it's getting too expensive.
Exactly. But good thing is New Orleans and Houston are kind of like sister cities, so it's easy to go back and forth. Yeah.
Is your family all here, or?
My mom's family's here. My dad's family's actually in Louisiana.
Okay,
so
you've got family back and forth. Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you've experienced, like, as far as? Yeah, well, tell us. Okay, tell us like two.
Let's see. I think.
Or some of the biggest challenges.
Number one that comes to mind is money management. I have to say, like, when you do creative stuff and freelance, you get like, lucky at some points where you're getting all this work, and you're like, oh, life is good. Like, let's go to brunch every week.
I got you.
Yeah, and then like, you can't, always expect like the universe to kind of bless you with these consistent opportunities. Sure. You have to plan for those rainy days.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way last year. And so now I'm like kind of getting back on my feet. Yeah, and no, okay, don't get too confident, just be humble with your money and these opportunities. And
I mean, I think that's for everybody. Is like, even successful people, like, they just get so thinking that everything's just great and the money's going to keep going, but eventually you do sometimes hit a wall. And you do money management for an entrepreneur is like probably the hardest thing, because you want to keep putting money into what you're doing, but at the same time your bank account says $50, but then someone's over here saying, yes, let's write a book because you have a great idea, but your bank account still says $50 and they want $3,000, and you're like, I gotta do this, how can I make this work? And then you're broke. So, it's a hard thing to do, but it's manageable.
Yeah, it is. And I think you have to learn that money is a mindset, kind of. Like, I didn't have to live like I thought I was entitled to live. Like, I'd be like, no, I am trying to do this creative lifestyle, and so I have to kind of back down accordingly in some areas of my life. You
gotta eat the $5, Chinese food, Look, when I lived in New York, I could make $20 work, and my husband to this day wishes I could go back to that. I used to make $20 work a week, slice of pizza, $5 Chinese, so if they had leftover lunch wherever I was working, I would take it home. So like, because any other income that I was gonna make was gonna go to, I was doing music in New York and stuff, was going to be recording a song or how to do my artwork or whatever. So it just becomes, I think, like, what is more important? Like, do I need a pair of Louis, or can I go to Target and get some flip-flops? Yeah. Priorities, people, priorities. So give us one more challenge.
I think with a lot of creative things people do, it gets really competitive.
Sure.
And so a lot of people, like, indirectly or directly, just kind of make you measure yourself up to like what other people are doing, and what your creations look like, or how far they've gone. Yeah, like how much work they're getting. And so it's easy to get caught up in that, especially like with Instagram being like this never-ending source of inspiration, where you're just kind of indirectly like comparing yourself. That's probably another challenge that I think I'm like past now, but it's easy to get caught up in it again.
Sure. I mean, especially in the fashion world, like just designers in the sense of like everyone thinks that theirs is the best, and they have more experience, but all of a sudden someone can come out like Christian Siriano and just came out of nowhere, and now he has like his whole, everybody wants to wear something of his,
Exactly.
So I think it's important to like always keep creating your own lane, because you don't ever know like what person really loves that lane, and you can go further with it. But it's hard because social media makes us feel like our lane isn't good enough sometimes. And that's for everybody, but I can see why that would be a challenge in the fashion world and as a stylist. So that's more costume. So styling for different artists and stuff is that. What is the process? Like, if I came to you and said, "Hey, I got to shoot," what is the process of being a stylist? Because some people don't know really what that means.
Yeah, that's a good point. So typically, like, if the artist is larger, like, you would talk to the director mainly. They would kind of have like something like a mood board, or they call it a treatment, that they would send the record label and that they would approve, and then I would get that, and then I would kind of digest it myself, and like all these emotions and like buzzwords they're trying to evoke, like through like their visuals in the song, I would kind of present what, like, I guess pieces of clothing and garments and looks would translate that and contribute to that theme and that narrative and that whole like color story. And so I would, present that and kind of throw my own treatment and mood board together and present it to the director. And once I get his or her green light, I would just start pulling, going to these showrooms, like boutiques, and like saying, "Hey, I got this music video for Big Frida, for example," and then they're like, "Dope, we want to be a part of that." Or I try my best to work with local designers as much as possible, because anytime we get a platform like that, it's just good to put our people on.
Sure.
Brands like Gucci, like all those big names, they don't need it. They're not gonna blink twice. So like I have a
And then
friend.
that's not really like stylistically creative. That's just like, okay, let's just go and get some labels and throw it on and see if they look
That too,
right.
exactly. And so, I just kind of run around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to dress like dozens of people.
There have been people that have not been receptive to helping you, like to want to be a part, or like say you go to, for instance, Tootsie's or something, like has different stuff. Are they yay or nay?
All the time, all the time, especially a store like that. And look at me, I'm not like this like guy walking around with like Gucci sunglasses. Like, I'm pretty chill, and so when I walk into a place like that, one, they already like think I'm sketchy, and two, if I'd be like, "Can I borrow your clothes for free?" They're like, "Hell no." And so like,
okay, Dan.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that happens all the time, but you do find like stores and designers especially who recognize the the platform that it could give their brand, and and they're just down to collaborate.
So what about if they're not a celebrity? So like, would you take your services just to like like me, or someone that just needs a revamp of a look for themselves?
Like closet stuff?
Yeah.
I actually haven't done that before.
Oh, well, you need to add that. I just created another avenue Monday.
So I need to look into that actually.
Yeah, I mean, because you have these moms now that are like trying to revamp their life. They're coming back after having 2 kids, and you look in your closet and you're just like, and so you just want a different rebrand for yourself, fresh start, and it's hard when you're not like, you don't want to just go back to the regular stores. You want something different for yourself. So that might be an avenue for you. I don't know. I'll hire you for my next. We need to do a shoot too.
Yeah, I'm so
I would love to do something creative. I'm like, I had the shoot. I needed him to design the shoot. About to do a shoot. We're about to be full blast over here in 2020. So, is there anyone in your family that is as creative as you? Are you like the one? Like for me, I'm the only singer. I'm the entrepreneur. I'm the one doing like But what about for you?
Yeah, I think my family kind of thinks I came from left field with all this too,
People say like, "Well, I'm the black sheep," and I'm like, I hate that. I hate that people say that, because I don't feel like you're probably the most unique, like so. Do you have a hard time?
No, not at all. I mean, I just kind of did my own thing, and then as long as like my bills are paid and stuff, like they're chilling, And so, I mean, they would be like, "What are you doing? A lot of people still think I'm a photographer because I post pictures, but I'm like, I didn't take those." So I do kind of have to break it down, like what I do and like what other people do to get these images that they're seeing on Facebook or Instagram. But they're chill, they're supportive, they don't really understand it. But
so no one else in your family is like an entrepreneur per se?
I think we have a lot of entrepreneurial spirit. My grandfather, who was a big inspiration to me, he like started his own welding shop, and I think he was very creative in himself. Like he was very innovative.
Because it has to come from somewhere, what I mean? Like,
I think that like figure it out attitude definitely came from my grandparents' household for sure. Like you know, like I used to do these. Do you have a Boy Scout? Do you have a son? Or?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I have a nephew who's a Boy Scout. Yeah.
I was a Boy Scout, and they had like these soapbox thing, car races.
Yeah,
you had to build your own car, and
that's old school.
anything like that, he would just jump on, and like
Really?
he would just make it so beautiful. And like those volcano projects,
Yeah.
he would get like little twigs and like burn them, and like make it look like the lava, like burn the trees.
You would
coming
come out with like, bam!
Yeah.
The kids are like, geez, I know you didn't make that.
Yeah, those gears were definitely turning in my
Yeah.
household, and I just kind of
Turn it through clothes, through style, yeah. Well, that's really cool. You know, as far as your family supports, I would say like your supportive tribe is your family, your friends.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My mom is my biggest cheerleader. Like,
Yeah.
she'll find whatever project I'm working on, find that artist's Instagram, and they'll post something and be like, "My baby did that! You better tag him!"
I have a mom like that too. We like, she'll be working or whatever, and somebody's like, "I met your mother today. She said you were doing this, 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 and this. That's so good." I'm like, do you have to tell everybody everything? She's like, "I'm your PR, okay? I'm your personal PR." And I laugh too because, you know, my grandma and stuff, that she always was doing music, and that's probably where my music background came from, whatever. But it was always be like, "Oh, Mihai, can you just sing the Selena song again? You know, just sing the Selena. You know, you can sing. You have your own songs out. You know, you're doing things in New York, but just go up there and sing Selena. They'll understand." I'm like, it doesn't work like that. I wish I could just sing Selena. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's talk about your shoe story. So we tell everybody to bring on a shoe that like their go-to shoe, or if a shoe has a special meaning to you, because we talk about, you know, support creative souls, we also talk about shoes. But you wore these dope
Creepers situation. I haven't had them for a long time, but they pretty much embody like what I look for in a shoe and any other piece of wardrobe I wear. Like I just feel like they're pretty timeless, and you could see them like 50 years ago and honestly 40 years from now, and I like to wear them in interesting ways. And yeah, this is something I will probably break in.
Well, the cool thing is you can wear them with, well, you said this already, but like different ways. If you wanted to dress them up, how you have them with shorts, it's really cool. And women can wear these as well.
Yeah.
I see a lot of shoes out for women that like this style. So I would rock those.
Yeah, it's a thick.
By the way, my shoes today, just some little, pretty basic. This is very, very, very basic businessy for me, which I never really do. But yeah, some Jimmy Choo's black pumps. Always need a pair of black and nude. Right? Okay, see? Ask the expert right here. Closet staples. So I love vintage too.
Yeah.
That's like my husband gets mad at me because I would much rather go to like all the vintage stores in Houston than like Nordstrom Rack, or like go to Nordstrom, or like any store like that. I don't find like uniqueness. Like even this belt, I probably had this belt for a while, but you know, it was $5 from the Guild, you know what I mean? And I go in there and I know what I'm looking for, like a specific shirt or a specific skirt. And for my mom, for everyone else, they think it's just, some people can't do it, can't rummage, you know? But I love it. We should talk about some of your spots that you go to here in Houston.
Gotta go to the Hood. Those are the best ones.
Where?
I go to this one on Polk Street.
Oh.
I think it's called, I don't know the name, Big Thrift or something. It's huge.
Really?
And they have a lot of good stuff. I mean, you could go to like Buffalo on Pavement.
No, but see, Buffalo turned down some of my clothes, and I won't go back. I felt sincerely embarrassed and appalled that they didn't want my stuff. So, but they're not vintage. I'm talking about like a sequin dress, or you know, something that you can bring back to life. Basically, that's what I enjoy. Buffalo is already just, you know, clothes that pretty much everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's not as fun. You'll find like some key things and probably pay like a lot more for it than the places I would go to. But yeah, like this was like at a thrift off of Polk Street. Probably got it for like $2, and I'm gonna wear this for like the rest of my life. Probably.
That's what I'm big on belts, shirts, and skirts. Pants not so much, and bags. I used to be really big into bags, and I've cut down on just purchasing everyone. I think it's unique. I had a lot. My mom was like, "This is ridiculous." So,
Yeah.
I'm trying, but I do like one day I'll go. But anyway, so tell us where you see yourself going. Is that a hard question?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's good.
It's a good question. I need to
Yeah.
ask myself more often. I don't know. I have this feature film. I'm costume designing in New Orleans. I leave
Cool.
actually this weekend.
Nice.
And I start on Monday.
Congrats.
And that's kind of where my head is right now.
You think you want to stick more into film and stuff, or like just keep doing what you're doing?
I love film and I love like the music videos I get too. So ideally, like I can keep those two things afloat. But
Yeah.
I really just look forward to seeing what connections I can make during this film, and if I do well, hopefully it leads to more films. And yeah, I want to travel more with my work. I think I've done a lot in New Orleans and done what I can do in Houston. But I think I'm ready to try to go to like LA and New York and assist some like bigger stylists that I've already been in contact with, and I just don't really want to leave Houston or this area. Like,
Yeah,
I just love being here.
I did it the other way around. Like I spent most of my time in New York and doing music there and stuff like that, and then I moved back to Houston. And I think a lot of people feel like you need to reach out to those places, but I feel like if I would have done it now, I would build myself up to the biggest I could be here. And then, then people in New York and LA would be looking for you.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, I should go out there because they're probably better. But once you build yourself up to where like everyone's calling for you, that's like true success. It doesn't matter what location you're in, as long as you're like doing dope stuff.
Yeah, and like with the internet and stuff, like you
Yeah.
don't really have to be in those places anymore.
With that, where can people find some of your work?
I'm on Instagram, Tu Flaco spelled with a K, and I have a website that is linked to my Instagram too, and that's pretty much it.
So what is your last name? Are you Mexicano or?
My dad, he's Creole from Louisiana. My mom, I have her last name.
Okay.
She's Colombian and Mexican.
Oh, dang! You are mixed.
I'm a mutt.
You are a mutt. That's cool. You can probably bring all those different cultures and stuff into what you do.
I think I do. Like when you look at my room and stuff, like it just looks like a hut from some country just like mixed together in a modern space. So I just
you were like, well, what country do you want, Brian? Oh, you want New Orleans? I got you. Okay, so last question is, what would you tell somebody? I always mess this question up, but what would you tell somebody who's 13 years old, like in the past? Like, what advice would you give somebody?
I think
who's younger than you?
Young.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Take your time and be consistent with just delivering the quality that you bring to the table yourself. Like, don't really try to pull that much inspiration from what other people are doing. Like, I think our creative footprints are very unique, and I think if we just stick to that and refine it, more people would be surprised at how far that takes them, rather than trying to
do whatever
duplicate what someone else is doing.
That's really important, and I say that in my motivational speech, is like a lot of kids want to, with social media, want to be like other people, and I think if we continue to preach and being unique and different is the key to success, then more and more people will be less, get off of social media and want to, compare and likes. But so many of us now growing up didn't know that, and I think that's really key what you're saying. So cool. But tune in. Thank you again to our sponsors, Fragrances of Wine, Comida Caliente Salsa. If you haven't picked up a bottle, go to the website now. And our sponsors, Big Co-work Space here in Midtown Houston. Thank you so much. You can watch us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Thank you so much for joining us. Besos.
That's all for Support Creative Souls podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for next time and make sure and follow us on social media at Support Creative Souls.